Since the OECD began monitoring aid flows over half a century ago, the geography of poverty has changed dramatically, and so has the way development is financed. Countries like Brazil, China, and Korea have grown richer, pulling hundreds of millions of people out of poverty and using their new wealth to invest in and help poorer countries. This is blurring old lines between what we used to think of as donor and recipient nations. Traditional OECD donors provide around $130 billion a year in public development aid, but 7 times as much now flows in as things like foreign direct investment, bank loans, and private philanthropy. Developing countries everywhere are gaining more access to finance, and private capital flows are leaping ahead of what we have historically referred to as aid. Poor countries are improving their tax systems and using those revenues to fund their own development priorities. The remittances that migrant workers send home are another key source of funds. The most impoverished countries, however, especially those hit by conflict and instability, still struggle to attract private investment and remain much more dependent on aid. In this changing landscape, the OECD is working to modernise the way it defines and measures aid, in parallel with the United Nations work on post-2015 development goals. Today, Official Development Assistance, or ODA, is tracked using criteria set decades ago by a group of OECD members that at the time comprised the world's major donors. ODA, as it is defined today, excludes most of what provider countries spend on maintaining peace and security, a key prerequisite for development. It also excludes loan guarantees, a form of support that can mobilize significant amounts of private investment in poor countries by mitigating risk. Lastly, the criteria for what counts as a low-cost loan was set when global interest rates were much higher than today, and this means money can be loaned to poor countries at a profit while still counting as aid. The OECD has set itself until the end of 2014 to work out a new system for tracking development finance based on 3 lines of work: updating the definition of ODA so it more accurately reflects the effort made by providers and the benefit to recipient countries; creating a broader measure of total official support for development, encompassing contributions not fully monitored by the OECD, like support for adapting to climate change; tightening the criteria for loans to count as official development assistance based on today's interest rate environment. The debate is also exploring ways to ensure that ODA goes to the countries that most need it, is spent efficiently, and contributes to helping governments make better use of domestic revenues like taxes, so that we move further away from the old world of aid.